Good afternoon, everyone. More supply chain slowdowns. China closed at least until May. 23-mile-long traffic jam queuing freight. Ban on petrol cars, UK and France. Did anybody see that materials quotes are only valid for 24 hours due to uncertainty in the markets for delivery and electric vehicle batteries, lithium and cobalt? Speaking of metal, 1-pound cylinders jumping in price. Due to theft, we no longer put steaks on the shelves. What kind of world are we living in? Oh, a chilly one. April 17th, well below normal temperatures, U.S. Out to April 24th, snowfall totals in Europe. Canyon walls coming to life. Electromagnetic shift across our solar system. Lexicon change from purchase limits to rationing in the UK and also the United States. Rationing, scare the mothers, and your moment of zen in the forest. Are sanctions and a weaponized U.S. dollar prompting central banks to diversify with gold? As the U.S. imposed the harshest sanctions in history against Putin, the central banks of Saudi Arabia and China have taken notice. Saudi Arabia is considering accepting Chinese yuan for oil sales to China. Could this spell the end of the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency? Because since March 2020, gold's up 30%, silver's doubled. Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all forecast gold to surpass $2,000 an ounce. Call the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 1-800-356-4470 for a free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer from 2016 to present, click on the link in the description box below for more information. And now on with the video. And jumping over to China, Shanghai lockdown is going to continue, well, at least into the first weeks of May. Another supply chain down for months at a time. Now, this is not only Shanghai, but it's Ningbo and Hangzhou. Very little coming out of this area of the East Coast, Yangtze River Delta. But at the very same time, when we jump over to the UK, look at this 23-mile long stretch of trucks queuing for freight. And it just seems like supply chain amplifying supply chain disruption. And if we look over here, Walgreens, the second largest pharmacy behind CVS. Now there's a supply chain crunch there also, limiting customers to 3 infant formula purchases at a time. And if you read down through the article a little further, the shortage of the product, which is roughly 3/4 of infants in the United States receive at some point within their first 6 months, has parents panicked. And if you follow through the headlines here, the Infant Nutrition Council of America urging parents not to hoard the formula, that 10 to 14 day supply is plenty. Enough, you don't need to worry about it. So notice the lexicon change here. Due to limited supply, we're limiting the purchase to 3 per transaction. So I'm seeing a gargantuan shift in fear building here, I guess is the best way to put it. That word rationing has such a deep impact on people's feeling of availability of the food. I mean, World War II, there was rationing. Anytime there's severe disruptions, wars, whatever, there's always rationing with it. Now we come to see headlines across the world starting to use the word rationing, especially infant formula. So 3/4 apparently of all children in the United States will have infant formula at some point within the first 6 months after birth. So look at how scary that is and the demographic that's targeting. Mothers, mama bear. But then also they can just reach for it. Honey, we need to go prepare. So then the men are involved as well. So if you are going, I'm just saying, if you were going to target a demographic to create the most change using new lexicon of shortages and rationing, you would target the mothers. That's exactly who would have the most ability to move the dial across the United States, especially with the families and the children. Mothers go into action, the world changes. Look what's happening with the news headlines right now. And this will be right off the Daily Mail in the UK. So they're using the same words across the pond, rationing. Or you could just say limiting customers to 3 formula purchases at a time. But what response are you getting using the word rationing compared to limiting customers to purchase 3 at a time? Incredibly different. Then here in the US, they're choosing to use the same exact words. Increased demand and various supplier issues. Now 29% of the most popular baby formulas out of stock. So what do they mean, various supplier issues? You mean grain not making it to the dairy farmers? That somehow there's been a switcheroo and the forward contract for freight delivery has been usurped by consumer goods, like Walmart, for example, taking those trains and running the other direction. You got to think about it. When you're looking at the dairy industry, milk, okay. You might say cheese. Well, where does the cheese come from? Oh, from the whey. Now you start to think about the protein contained within milk. And if you're going to look at the value chain at the highest, infant formula. So why is it that the highest possible price point in company manufacturing to an outbound market is bottlenecked out, where they just can't get it, or is there's not enough grains going to the cattle, so that's truly the bottleneck? See, they say various supply chain disruptions or various supply chain difficulties, but did they explain it really? I'm more on the side of the grains aren't making it to the dairy farmers, so that is where the bottleneck lies currently. But that would be for the rest of our meats as well. Have you been hearing that there's not going to be enough meat? Hogs, turkey, chicken, they all rely on the same feeds coming in. And you can see the pendulum swing all the way over to there's not going to be meat available. So maybe it's just the grains are not being delivered. Again, I'm just saying, if you were going to plan to disrupt meat production and dairy production across the United States and the world, you would stop the railroads from delivering the grains into the facilities. No grain, no meat. But what we are going to have is a very chilly Easter, U.S. That's 16 to 20 degrees Celsius below the normal, which is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And electromagnetic changes sweeping through our solar system. This is something straight off of a canyon wall that is coming to life in the skies. Now, this was predicted as we come closer to 2024, October, that we're going to see more of these plasma displays across our skies, and there shall be signs in the skies. These were left as warnings, the petroglyphs that were carved in canyons across the globe. When you see this again, there's an inbound event. Almost looks like an invisible hand holding a lightning bolt. Now, where have I seen that? Across more than a handful of ancient cultures, cycles repeating. Taking a look at the snowfall totals here in Europe. Chilly conditions still moving through the planting season. This will take us up to April 24th here. And some of those area totals in green are pushing up around 46 to 50 inches. And staying in Europe here, Eurozone inflation, what's that, 31.4%? Year on year, record high. So what do you think? The companies are going to eat that, and they're going to give you a break and say, well, we don't need to raise any prices. We love our customers. Or do you think at the bare minimum your prices are going to rise 30%? Because the producers that are creating product A, B, C, D to deliver to a store for you to come in and purchase just suddenly costs them 30% more to produce, which means you're going to get hit for a minimum of 30%. Now, I would say by the end of the year, This is going to be closer to 100, doubling. When the harvest season comes in October and it's very, very lean, and the prices double and triple in food across the planet, that this producer price index is going to go double. And they're going to pass those costs on, but then the food prices are going to increase, and you're going to get into this tailspin of hyperinflation. We're truly at the cusp of it. Triple-digit inflation is hyperinflation. Now, Aldi's been making the news because they were going to raise prices 30 to 50% in Europe. They're raising prices in the United States as well. But here's what's super interesting. Look at this sign. Due to theft, we can no longer put steaks on the shelf. Please ask the associates if you needed. And I said, what kind of world are we living in? Jewelry, yeah, under the glass case. Now steaks and jewelry both need to be under glass cases. Oh wait, move the diamonds out of the way. I got a T-bone I want to show you. That's where the world is going right now. And an update on the supply chain here. This is the big box stores, Sam's Club and Costco, 1 week prior. And I know this has intensified and increased since that point. Now, some of these may be regional, but there's a lot of disruptions in pasta because, well, last year's durum wheat harvest, there wasn't even enough for all of the global needs. That's why durum wheat products went off the shelves first. But now we see pasta, spices, mayonnaise, okay. No canned Friskies or Purina cat food. Animal foods, pet foods are disappearing quickly as well. Now this will be the wet canned foods. There's still maybe dry cat foods out there. Now you got Planters peanuts and limited canned fruits. They only have the gigantic can. But see, if you're gonna store that, you better have about 8 people around to eat it at one time. Because after you open that, take it out of the can, you're gonna eat a portion of it, but then you probably have to put it in a glass lock. But also when we jump down to Costco, they're limiting purchase of dog food to 1 bag per customer. And see, here's where it's going now. Pet food is going to become unavailable. And then the prices of onions, 3-fold increase from $5 to $15. And it looks like quantities of meats also being limited. Front and center on the radar here, vegetable oils. You're going to need fats to try to continue thinking properly. Moving forward, so sunflower, canola, olive oil, coconut, and avocado oil. Did a video just yesterday where in Germany, the vegetable oil prices increased 5-fold. A 5x increase in a single day. So 2.5 gallons cost $55 now in Germany. And remember the quality of the oils. If you're going to consume them, avoid that canola oil. Corn oil, forget it. Olive oil, avocado oil, yes. Anytime you see those two, always jump on it. It may cost you a little bit more, but in the long run, it's going to be much better for you in terms of those fats that your brain is going to need to continue functioning cognitively and keep you ahead of the game during these food lean times. Speaking of inflation, look at the 1-pound bottles of propane. They plug into the Coleman stove. March 26th, $9.98. A week later, $11.49. So do you think that's the same exact bottles that the store was holding? They just put the price up. I mean, gouged the price up. And over to the UK, there's going to be a ban on new petrol and diesel cars from 2030. But then in France, they're going to ban all diesel cars from 2024 and all internal combustion engines from 2030. Now, I'm wondering if anybody who made that decision had seen this volatility and shortages in the metals market where now materials quotes are only valid for 24 hours. Inflation and rumors now of a tin shortage. But when we look at what's required to manufacture even one battery for an electric vehicle, cobalt, lithium, nickel, that was in the news too. They stopped trading. That disrupted the entire metals market. And then here we are. Zinc next. Commodity trader Trafigura set to take physical delivery of zinc from the London Metals Exchange warehouse. Problem is, they're scrambling to get physical metal into the warehouse because if it's not there, the market never comes back. First it was nickel, then it was gold, now it's zinc. Do you see a pattern? I sure do. I know the COMEX was having also problems delivering 1,000-ounce silver bars. Now notice the top right, physical demand for gold has increased 2 to 3x or 2 to 3-fold as well. So what is it with people understanding that you could hold your wealth with gold and silver through this transition into hyperinflation and a new monetary system based on central bank digital currency, otherwise known as programmable money? It's been like this for thousands, plural, of years. That physical piece of silver or gold, the paper stack changes next to it, and I think we are going into a Himalaya-sized stack of paper for a piece of metal as we move into the harvest season here, October 2022. I really believe we're going to tip into the hyperinflationary beginning at that point. I mean, look at it, triple-digit inflation everywhere across the planet now. Are people not really calling it hyperinflation? Oh, it's a little bit of inflation. It's hyperinflation. Call it what it is. And this stack right here will take you well into the new monetary system. There were stories of the hyperinflation event in Austria after World War I, where you could use a single gold coin to buy a house at that point. Every hotel was full of people in surrounding nations that were coming in with their gold and silver and purchasing art, jewels, antiques, homes, buildings, whole apartment blocks, because their nations were not in hyperinflation. Stories of to repair a broken window cost you more than the entire price of the house as it was getting into the real ramping up stages. A new pair of shoelaces could have bought you 43 pairs of new shoes at that rate. Great chapter in history to see how precious metals can hold through these times we're about to experience. And here's the thing about premiums. Higher the premium means more of the demand that people want it in their hands, so they're willing to pay more to get it. This comes from U.S. Mint here. Eagles, silver eagles, and other coinage, they're looking at 18%. So if you $25 is the spot price, you're going to have to pay an additional 18% to get that physical in your hand. If it's available, there's 3-week, 4-week, 6-week wait times now. And your moment of Zen, an island unto itself. And the world is going to be a reflection of your headspace, the people around you, their mental attitudes. It's going to make or it's going to break. Because we're going to go through this and you can embrace it and look around and say, wow, there's so much change, that there's so much opportunity after the danger. Being in that headspace of self-sufficiency, knowing that you can come together with others, grow some of your own food, get more self-autonomous quickly, learn the basic skills, some carpentry, security, make sure you have your neighbors and family around as a community. But it's all about how people are going to perceive it. Just as the perception of that forest in the drop of water at the end of a small branch. It's all perception. And as we move through this hyperinflationary event, these food shortages, the shift in everything that has been rock solid as our foundation of civilization and society is going to turn to quicksand here in about 1/5 of an 1/8 of a second. Electromagnetic changes are sweeping through our solar system. Your brains are electromagnetic as well. So perhaps the way others are perceiving reality is also going to be very different. Whatever's happening, we are going through vast changes here. Once in a 2,000-year cycle, it should culminate at least in this first wave around October of 2024. So you see how lockstep the changes are being pushed, if the first, let's say, apex of electromagnetic change is at October of 2024, the most disruption always happens leading into the cycle. I'm curious what's going to happen once the gas giants line up and we get a second magnetic field in our solar system, and they're just going to transit through those overlapping toroid fields. What's going to happen then? But it seems like a lot of governments are preparing for continuity of government, but also trying to distract and control at the same time citizens, access to food, control the global food supply, and then reset the monetary system. So at the end coming out, the new asset class is in their favor of what is considered money or settlement. This is where we're going. Now you can sit back and cry in the corner, or you can stand up and walk outside and do something. Your choice. It's always your choice. I prefer to get ready. Hope you do too. Because if you're more ready, we're all more ready. And your community is more ready, my community is more ready. And it's just going to be easier for everybody to get through this if we are more prepared. But we're running out of time. It's just months, plural, left before this sweeps the planet. The awareness is going to be the big thing. See, once the world wakes up, and I'm going to say 80% awareness happens somewhere around July, August. If not at that point, it will be in October at the harvest season. There'll probably be about 40% of the globe will wake up here coming at the end of May when the planting season is finished. And those that follow financial news or know somebody in the farming community or farming news, this whole thing about the planting not getting in, the switch from corn to soybean, the non-availability of fertilizers and herbicides that are going to really cut yields anyway, the Black Sea region being locked off, the Russian exports not coming, Ukraine's not planting. And once you start to add all these things up with simple math, you're going to go, whoa, that's a significant decline of global production, above 30%. Now, at that point, people are going to go, whoa, we really need to get ready right now. That'll be 40% of the populace, maybe 30. But as we come into the crop tours in August, that number is going to rise to 50, 55, 60% of the world is going to go, uh-oh. And the ones that haven't gotten it by then will finally be there at the harvest season coming up in October of 2022. But they'll be so late to the party that things will cost 3 or 4x more than they did now, if it's even available. Every item is going to be a little bit different. But these are the exact same things that I talk about on many Ice Age Conversations podcast. Hope you join me over there as well. 30-minute episodes talking about getting more prepared for these changes with people that I consider experts on how to be more self-sufficient, or those in different industries that are also seeing different dots connect around to, yeah, we have a huge problem and it's time to get ready. They're going to show you their side of what they think is happening and how it will affect the world pricing and availability. And also storable foods, 25-year shelf life. Definitely going to want to think about the foods and seeds. You're going to need both. I do thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video, and I will see you next time. All the links are in the description box below, so you can chase down the stories that I was presenting tonight, do your own research, show some of your friends or family to get them in the conversation on this very simple aspect of, they've changed the wording from limit of 2 to rationing. That is so huge. I can't even describe to you what a huge uptick that is in terms of turning on the fear around the planet. It's meant to cause panic and rip through and do shortages now. I'm really very convinced of that. Otherwise, they wouldn't change the lexicon into, there's nothing left. That's going to spur people to action, especially mothers when they see it's infant formula. So here we go. Week 1 of mothers becoming aware there's not enough baby food around there, infant formula, toddler formula, whatever you want to call it. And you're going to watch it get stripped out of the stores. 7 days are left. There'll be nothing. None of it will be in the United States. It will be stripped clean. And as they bring it out on a pallet, you're going to watch mothers dive in and elbow each other to get those cans for their kids. That's where we're going in 2 weeks. So we'll do an update when that comes. And it's happening so fast. It's almost in real time as you see these things come out. You can just forecast where it's going to go in terms of human response to the stimulus. I'll see you next time. Bye.